Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Good to see everyone again, and after a couple of months or more. Do we have anyone that's looking to any public comments? Okay. Approval of the minutes of May 18th. Someone care to make a motion on approving those minutes from? All in favor? Aye. Any changes in the work plan?
No changes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We're going to work the schedule a little bit differently. We have the presidents here to make presentations on where they are relative to diversity, and maybe I'll just work in line.
Any order? 9? Okay.
Joseph, why don't you start, and we'll just move on down.
Thank you. A couple of things that I'd like to bring to attention going forward is we've made a tremendous amount of progress at Metro North. We are going through a generational shift as the baby boomers are being solely replaced by the millennials, who not only expect diversity but demand it, and as a result, Metro North has and will continue to improve its recruitment and hiring process to better target those areas in our workforce diversity that need improvement, specifically women and Hispanics. The HR department and the Office of Diversity and EEO are working collaboratively with the other departments in the railroad to closely monitor all the new hires, including those showing underutilization. Our 2015 second quarter report shows continued improvements in our workforce diversity, particularly with Hispanics and Asians. As compared with the second quarter of 2014, we've improved our utilization, and in one additional category for Hispanics, specifically in administrative support, and in 2 categories for Asians and technicians and administrative support. These improvements are also reflected in our second quarter new hire report that shows nearly half of our new hires from January 1st to June 30th are minority, as compared to 46% in 2014 and 42% in 2013 and 36% in 2012. However, our new recruitment for females has not been as successful, and the second quarter new hires of females decreased from 17% in 2014 to 15% in 2015. We attributed some of the decline to increased hiring in skilled craft trades that have low availability of females in those positions. But we are continuing targeting our efforts by posting jobs on women-focused employment websites and expanded our job fair presence in 5 boroughs, Hudson Valley region, Long Island, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We're in the process of redesigning our company marketing materials to attract women into non-traditional industry and focusing our efforts on female service members and veterans at military job fairs. We have designated a human resources coordinator to expand and identify our female outreach at recruitment venues and also educational programs focused on female candidates. Selection, and do you want me to continue on to our selection and hiring program and stuff? Or?
Please.
Okay. Our hiring process improvements. We have randomized the selection of applicants to ensure all applicants apply for Metro North jobs have fair opportunity to be considered for all positions. Increased the monitoring of the hiring and recruitment process by HR and diversity to ensure the selection process is fair and non-discriminatory in departments with underutilization. And Metro North will continue to conduct mandatory recruitment and hiring process trainings to all employees participating in such search committees that will instruct committee members on their ethical responsibilities, prepare them to conduct interviews and selections in order to ensure that the hiring process is fair and non-discriminatory. For our outreach efforts for 2015 to 16, we're increasing our attendance at female veteran and active service member events. I already said we expanded our participation in the job fairs. We're continuing to promote and enhance the Associate Engineer Program and the Metro North Mentoring Program intended to promote from within and diversify job groups that have historically been underrepresented by females and minorities. And Metro North has expanded its roster of training courses offered to employees interested in increasing their skills to increase their opportunities for promotion. The courses include resume writing, interview skills, and business writing. And Metro North will continue its recruiting for the internship program by having a career fair dedicated solely to recruit applicants from historically diverse institutions. The interns have served as a diverse talent pool for the past 3 years. That concludes my report.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to say, I noticed this at the Metro North meeting this morning, but I wanted to save it for this meeting. I've been looking at the utilization numbers for Metro North for over 4 years, and they essentially haven't budged in the same classifications, women and Latinos. There's got to be something we can do to change at least one of these areas. I mean, from officials, administrators, down to technicians, women to Latinos. There's got to be something we can do to move the numbers.
I want to respond because I would say to you that the report is showing that there has been the change in the Latino. The women have gone up, and if you took a look even at our most recent, where we had all the engineering candidates and the interns coming in, almost everybody there was extremely aware and cognizant of the change in terms of the diversification that's out there and the candidates that we're getting in. So I told you over a year ago that you would see a change in the numbers. The numbers have come in. I'm disappointed on the female end, but there is a what I'll call a valid explanation and a plan to go and address that. So though I'm sorry that you feel disappointed in it, I am going to say that if you look at the true numbers of what's going on in our hiring, you'll see that it is changing.
I do see, Mr. Chairman, some movement in the numbers, but they're still not meeting. I call meeting that number budgeting, because we've still been in that highlighted zone for a very long time.
And as the hiring goes on and the pendulum swings, which it is in the process of doing, because if you looked at the hiring, and even though it's not affecting what has been historically, I'm going to tell you 15 years of a practice that should have been moving further along in this way, it has definitely moved in the last 2 to 3 years. And that's why I'm saying you'll start to see that swinging even more so now.
I trust we will. I appreciate it, and I say this only because I think you need to understand, and I owe it to you to tell you, that this has been a frustrating experience for a long time.
Let's not forget that the goal was an 80% goal that we worked towards.
Right.
Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
Darrell, if you, okay.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to provide the committee with an update from New York City Transit. On the efforts of New York City Transit to improve the representation of women and minorities where they are underutilized in our workforce, and to give a progress report on the efforts started last year under the leadership of Carmen Bianco and Darrell Arick to broaden our approach to workforce diversity through the development and implementation of a comprehensive diversity and inclusion program. Let me begin by stating that I am strongly committed to improving the representation of women and minorities in our workforce. Attracting, hiring, and retaining a workforce that reflects the communities we serve is very important to me. At New York City Transit, I am happy to report that there is a tremendous racial and ethnic diversity in the workforce, and I would like to give a general overview of our workforce demographics. New York Transit's workforce composition. There has been essentially no change, percentage-wise, in the makeup of New York City Transit's workforce in terms of race, ethnicity, and gender since our last report to the committee. Minorities make up 76% of the entire workforce. Specifically, blacks make up 47%, Hispanics 16%, Asians 11%, and members of all other protected groups make up approximately 2% of the workforce. Additionally, women make up 18% of the workforce. Now let's look at areas of underutilization. Women, Hispanics, Native Hawaiians, and other Pacific Islanders continue to be underrepresented in a number of job categories within our workforce. Females are underutilized in job categories of officials, administrators, paraprofessionals, administrative support, and skilled craft. New York City Transit continues to conduct targeted outreach to women, especially when there are vacancies in these job categories. Between January 1st and June 30th of 15, women were 20% of all new hires at New York City Transit, and we hired 194 women within job categories where there are underrepresentation. Hispanics are underutilized in the protective services, administrative support, skilled craft, and service maintenance job categories. 18% of all new hires during the first 6 months of 2015 were Hispanics, and during that same time period, we hired 379 Hispanics in the job categories where they are underrepresented. Utilization of Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders first appeared in our workforce underutilization analysis last year with the update of availability data from the U.S. Census. This is a relatively small but growing group in the Northeast. Notwithstanding the small population of Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders in our region, our analyses continue to show underrepresentation of this group in 8 job categories. I will discuss in a few minutes the efforts we have undertaken to broaden our recruitment and outreach to this group. What are our strategies and efforts to address underutilization, underrepresentation? I would like to share with the committee a few of the outreach efforts of New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company that we participated in this year, beginning with the Department of Subways Management Fellows Program. As part of our ongoing talent management efforts, the Department of Subways has created a Management Fellows Program to develop Subway's next generation of operations managers. This 36-month rotational program provides each fellow with an opportunity to learn the department's operations from entry-level positions through the managerial rank. Presently, we have a diverse group of 8 fellows made up of 6 men and 2 women, including 4 blacks, 2 Asians, 1 Hispanic, and 1 white. Outreach to women. In April of 2015, our recruitment staff attended the annual Mind, Body, Spirit Conference held at Yankee Stadium, sponsored by 100 Hispanic women. This organization was created to inspire Latinas to maximize their strengths and potential. Although the focus of this event was primarily on health and wellness, it provided our recruitment staff with the opportunity to network with the Hispanic female attendees, as well as share information about the employment opportunities of New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company. In 2015, New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company partnered with the New York Department of Education and City Polytechnic High School in Brooklyn to offer summer internship opportunities to 10 female students who are studying STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math subjects. The purpose of this partnership is to expose women to the transportation industry and to both transit agencies as an employer of choice. Throughout the summer, these women work closely with their managers, who were selected by key operations leaders to ensure a positive learning experience. Each intern was assigned to a buddy who was selected from the college-level intern population. The buddies assisted the high school interns in navigating the larger agency. New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company currently employs 234 college and graduate school interns, of which 43% are women. We plan to work with the Department of Education and City Polytechnic to continue this partnership and perhaps expand it throughout the school year. Other women-focused recruitment events that are scheduled for the fall of 2015 include John Jay College Readiness Boot Camp for college-bound service women and the annual Circle of Sisters Conference for women of color. Now to the outreach to our veterans. New York City coordinated effort by MTA HQ have been actively engaged in recruitment and outreach to military and veteran organizations. Both agencies were represented at 10 career fairs, including the first annual Bronx Community Veterans Career Fair, New York City Veterans Hiring Expo at Citi Field, and Marine Corps Mega Muster Job Fair in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. In 2015, our recruiters volunteered to conduct mock interviews at West Point to assist servicemen and women in preparing for the civilian job search process. New York City Transit recruiters also attended 3 professional development workshops that focused on building partnerships with tri-state area veterans organizations that assist veterans in securing employment. These workshops also provided an opportunity to learn more about issues that may impact servicemen and women in finding employment, such as post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. Also, I am glad to report that between January 1st and June 30th of 2015, 75 veterans were hired at the agencies. Outreach to Hispanics. New York City Transit and MTA Bus ongoing outreach to Hispanics includes the dissemination of information about employment opportunities at New York City Department of Labor-sponsored career fairs through targeted email blasts and through various social media sites and job boards. And finally, outreach to Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders. Our recruitment staff has reached out to the National Council of Asian Pacific Americans for guidance on effective networking with the Asian Pacific communities in the tri-state area. In addition, New York City Transit is promoting I Am Diversity as a preferred job board site in our media plans. I Am Diversity is the preferred job board site of Asian Nation, an authoritative, one-stop online informative resource and sociological exploration of the historical, demographic, political, and cultural issues that make up today's diverse Asian American community. Diversity and Inclusion Program. Last year, Carmen and Darrell told the committee about the launch of a new and exciting diversity and inclusion initiative at the agencies, and I wholeheartedly endorse and support the continuation of this initiative. We recognize and acknowledge that diversity has many dimensions beyond race, ethnicity, and gender. Other dimensions of diversity, to name a few, are veteran status, religion, physical ability, age, sexual orientation, and family status. For us, diversity encompasses all of the characteristics and attributes that make each one of us unique. One goal of this new initiative is to pivot our diversity efforts in such a way that the focus is not driven exclusively on meeting compliance mandates relative to race, ethnicity, and gender, but to reposition our diversity efforts to ensure that we respect, value, and include all dimensions of diversity in all that we do at New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company. In sum, we want to leverage the experience and ideas that each employee brings to the workplace for the overall good of the agencies. A task force comprised of senior managers at New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company was created during the summer of 2014 to lay the foundation for developing this comprehensive and robust diversity and inclusion program. The Diversity and Inclusion Task Force established several priority initiatives for 2014-15 that were considered key to building a successful diversity and inclusion program. Here are some of the priorities. Here are some of those priorities and initiatives. Last fall, senior management teams conducted employee focus groups with female hourly and managerial employees, Hispanic employees, and employees who have served in the military. The goal was to gain insight from the employees on the agency's culture with respect to diversity and inclusion, and to begin developing a common understanding of the best path forward in launching the Diversity and Inclusion Program. To advance the objectives of the Diversity and Inclusion Program, including professional development, 3 pilot mentoring programs are being developed, one for each of the 2 operating departments and one for the remaining support services departments. In addition, we have hired an Assistant Chief Officer for Diversity and Inclusion who starts soon and will serve as our strategic lead to ensure that diversity and inclusion are integrated into existing and future policies, procedures, and practices. And finally, last fall, a Director of Recruitment was hired who plays an important role in the success of the program. The Assistant Chief Officer, Diversity and Inclusion, and the Director of Recruitment will work together to create a diversity recruitment strategy for New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company. In conclusion, I'm very excited about the work that has gone on at New York City Transit and MTA Bus Company to improve the representation of underutilized groups and to strengthen and improve our diversity efforts in general. I look forward to working with the executive leadership team to develop and implement creative and effective strategies to remove remaining barriers to our objectives in this important area. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I know I'm the interim president, and I have only been there for a couple of weeks. I have talked to Darrell, as Carmen has retired, and I can assure all of you at the committee that they have a well-organized process and business plan for inclusion and diversity. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Joe. Questions from the board? Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Darrell.
Okay, good afternoon. To fully realize our potential as a top-performing business organization, we must seek out talent from the largest and most diverse set of candidates. We know that diversity fosters creativity, productivity, and thinking outside of the box. Diversity is a core tenet of our organization. It reflects the increasing value we place on talent and knowledge. It also embraces the simple but fundamental truth that different backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives bring something unique and invaluable to our organization. Employees want to work in organizations where they will be treated fairly and will be given the tools to succeed. Our commitment to diversify sends the message loud and clear. It not only boosts employees' morale, it ensures that we are able to recruit and retain the best new talent. MTA bus operations have implemented a three-pronged approach to diversity, which includes management awareness, public outreach, and workforce development. We work closely with our executive staff and senior management to promote a culture of diversity and reinforce the message that our future success lies in our ability to recruit from the broadest possible base and to foster an environment where we can retain the best talent. We partner with colleges, trade schools, and community organizations to ensure that we have access to all types of diverse pools of candidates. We have launched a successful workforce development team that has made significant strides towards equipping our employees with the tools they need to operate as a successful and cohesive team. Through diversity, our goal is for each individual to reach his or her full potential within our organization. Finally, as President Ferrara mentioned, one of our key areas of focus is ensuring the appropriate representation of women. At MTA Bus Operations, one of our biggest challenges is to diversify a male-dominated environment. We constantly reinforce the importance of promoting women in the workplace to executives at all levels of management. Experience shows that it's easier to get women to work for you when women already work for you. To that end, I am encouraged that during the first half of this year, 21% of our new hires were women. If this trend is maintained through the rest of the year, the growth rate for female hires this year will be higher than last year. Now for the data covering January 1 to the 30th of June 30th, 2015 demographics. Minorities make up 73% of the entire MTA Bus Company workforce, including 44% blacks, 18% Hispanics, 7% Asians, 4% of all other protected groups. Also, I am pleased to say that minorities make up 84% of our new hires, which is 49% black, 23% Hispanic, 10% Asian, and 2% of all other protected groups as well. Women make up 13% of our current workforce and 21% of our new hires. The growth in new female hire represents a 7% increase compared to last year. Underutilization categories. Women were underutilized in two categories: officials and administrators and administrative support. As you may be aware, there are non-discretionary hires in both of these categories. In the case of officials and administrators, if non-discretionary hires, supervisory and dispatchers, are excluded, we were very close to achieving our goal, 19% versus the goal of 21%. That's 19% actual versus a 21% goal. Hispanics were underutilized in four categories: protective services, administrative support, skilled craft, and service maintenance. I am pleased to note that 51 of the 54 Hispanics hired by MTA Bus Company for the first half of this year filled jobs within 2 of these underutilized categories. Asians are underutilized in 2 job categories, technicians by 1% and protected services, which has a total population of only 6 employees. The main driver of the remaining protected groups who did not meet established goals is the Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders. We are working on improving our recruitment efforts to specifically target the small population in the Northeast. We plan to apply the same recruitment strategies and research new strategies to recruit other minority groups. As Interim President Ferrara has just mentioned, the MTA Bus Company has been involved in a number of joint outreach and recruitment activities with New York City Transit, targeting women, Hispanics, and other our veteran community. I want to highlight some additional events that the MTA Bus Company has participated in to promote employment opportunities for diverse groups. In March of this year, we hosted a tour of Mother Clara Hill Bus Depot for the Women's Transit Seminar, WTS, and the USDOT Transportation Mentoring Program. These 2 organizations offer young girls between the ages of 13 and 18 an introduction to a wide variety of transportation careers. The highlight of the tour for the high school students was learning about the innovative green design of that particular depot. Over the summer, through the collaborative efforts of both MTA Bus Company and TDC, the Transportation Diversity Council, we welcomed 7 students from Bronx Design and Construction High School as summer interns, working alongside structural maintainers at MTA Bus to gain experience in the area of building and trades. This student group was 14% female, 86% Hispanic. The students received the opportunity to apprentice in jobs such as plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and carpentry. This experience will hopefully encourage these individuals to explore full-time employment opportunities in the transportation industry, particularly us. As an agency, we are exploring avenues that will provide ways to transition high school intern talent into full-time positions that have areas of underutilization. Additionally, my executive staff visited Ralph R. McKee Career and Technical Education High School in Staten Island to promote careers at MTA bus operations and in the transportation field in general. Approximately 80% of the senior class in the audience was composed of minorities enrolled in the automotive education curriculum. Our team shared their real-life experience of working and advancing at New York City Transit Bus and MTA Bus Company and discussed the many opportunities available in the transportation and maintenance industry. The response from the students as well as faculty members was enthusiastic. Further, our maintenance and support service personnel reached out to representatives of CUNY Bronx Community College Automotive Technology Curriculum. BCC has a large minority population, and their automotive technology curriculum is the only one of its kind in the CUNY system. As such, we felt it was important to encourage their students to seek out employment opportunities at New York City Transit Bus and MTA Bus, and offered our assistance with a mentoring program. BCC representatives were very receptive to this initiative, and we look forward to having a productive relationship with them going forward. And finally, as Jim Ferrara mentioned, we are thrilled to be a part of the Diversity Inclusion Program and Task Force. As a result of these efforts, we will bring hiring a chief officer equal employment opportunity to further reinforce our commitment to the diversity within the workforce and compliance with EEO regulations. Just to be clear, we're hiring a chief officer of diversity at MTA Bus. And that concludes my remarks, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to field them.
Darrell, thank you so much. Any questions? Pat?
Good afternoon. I want to talk first a little bit about the demographics at the Long Island Railroad. Between January 1 and June 30th of this year, our workforce increased by 243 heads, from 6,775 to 7,018. The percentage of female population of that headcount increased from 15.5% to 15.7% through that time frame. Female percentages of representation met or exceeded the 80% of census availability in all EEO job categories, with the exception of the administrative support job category. Minority headcount and percentage of minority representation also increased during that time period, from 34.1% of our workforce to 34.9% of our workforce. Black and Hispanic percentages of representation remained below the 80% of the census availability in the officials and administrators in skilled craft and the service maintenance job categories. We'll talk a little bit about the new hires during that time period. I'm proud to report that the very good hiring numbers for females and minorities during that time period, 356 new hires during the first half of 2015, 50% were minority and 21% were female. The point that I'd like to point out, and Fred, it goes back to your question here a little bit, it's just not the hiring rate that you need to look at. We also need to look at attrition rates within the organizations, because if the environment is such that people are not willing to stay because they don't find it a welcome environment, we need to not only look at hiring, but we also need to look at attrition. Of the 15 new hires in the officials and administrators job category, 47% were female and 47% were minority. Of the 45 new hires in the professionals job category, 47% were female and 62% were minority. Of the 27 new hires in the technicians job category, 26% were female and 52% were minority. Of the 21 new hires in the administrative support job category, 29% were female and 57% were minority. Of the 197 new hires in the skilled job craft category, 12% were female and 48% were minority. Of the 51 new hires in the service maintenance job category, 24% were female and 55% were minorities. So you can see we are making progress on the hiring front in all the categories that we've got out there. Some of our efforts to address underutilization through concerted efforts by diversity and human resources, female minority representation is at or near our goal, with the exception of Hispanics in the service maintenance job category. Females, blacks, and Hispanics are marginally underrepresented in the officials and administrators, administrative support, and skilled craft job categories. Hispanics remain significantly underrepresented in the service maintenance job category. We hope to see continued improvement in these areas through targeted recruitment and outreach. Between January 1st and June 30th, Long Island Railroad staff attended job fairs at 7 colleges with large minority student bodies and conducted presentations to 2 area high schools. Jobs are advertised on social media and with professional organizations and career websites, including Latinos for Hire, Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers, National Association of Hispanic Journalists, and Saludos. And that concludes my report.
What do you anticipate the turnover rate over the next few years?
I'll have to go back and check the numbers. I would guess it's somewhere between 5 and 10%, but let me check that and get back to you.
Because I think to make significant long-term change, the work you've done this year is got to keep up as we move forward.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, too, the goal is 80%, but that's 80% of the census, and the census is a moving target. It's not a fixed number. So over time, the demographics of available new hires is changing as well. So it's not just progress; it's progress against a changing environment that we live in.
Mostly trending up.
Yes.
Yes. Again, thank you, Pat. Donald?
Thanks. As the acting president of Bridges and Tunnels, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Of course, first I want to state that we are continuing the policies that Jim Farrar has laid out for us during his time as president. No changes on the horizon in the area of diversity. MTA Bridges and Tunnels is firmly committed to maintaining a highly qualified, diverse, and inclusive workforce, and recognizes that diversity is key to its future recruitment, selection, and retention success. It's a policy of MTA Bridges and Tunnels to provide a fair and equal employment opportunity to all applicants and qualified individuals within its workforce, both in securing employment and in promotional opportunities at all levels and occupational categories. Our workforce demographics did reveal underutilization of females in the officials and administrators job category, Hispanics in the administrative support and service maintenance job categories, and underutilization of Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders in several job categories. However, the overall workforce composition experienced significant gains. Between January 1st and June 30th, 2015, we onboarded 36 new hires, 22% were female, and 56% minority. In the officials and administrative category, the percentage of females increased from 22% to 26%, and Hispanics, American Indian, Alaskan Native, and other categories increased and reached parity within MTA B&T's current labor market demographics. Despite these milestones, MTA Bridges and Tunnels continues to explore strategies and implement best practices to increase underrepresentation where it does exist within the agency. We recognize the strategic approach to talent management and recruiting is necessary to attain diversified and long-term sustainable results. To achieve this goal, we're focusing on 5 strategic components. Talent management strategy is the first, targeted recruitment and outreach efforts, organization and leadership development, mobility and retention programs, and professional development. In the area of talent management strategy, our human resource, we try to provide a framework for our human resource department and a foundation to address the underutilization of females and minorities within the agency. A key element of this strategy is to identify departments, occupational titles, and job categories experiencing underrepresentation of minorities and women, and recommend and implement actions necessary to increase their reputation and opportunities in proportion to the relevant labor market. Targeted recruitment is one of these key actions, and last week, I'm happy to say we carried out our second engineering and construction job fair to address the increase in human capital needs that we have for ongoing construction projects. This year, in this job fair, we implemented a streamlined electronic pre-screening process, and after an extensive outreach effort by our human resources team, more than 590 applicants expressed an interest in attending the job fair. From that talent pool, 442 pre-qualified applicants were invited to attend, and 264 applicants actually attended the job fair, 25% of whom were female and 68% were minorities. The composition of the minority breakdown was 9% blacks, 10% Hispanics, 44% Asians. Overall, the fair was a huge success, and we hope to be able to fill a significant number of positions with the talent that we met just a few days ago. In another targeted recruitment effort, we partnered with Vaughn College Aeronautics and Technology to attract students from the aviation, engineering, automotive, and technical fields to increase our opportunity to hire more females and Hispanics. The internship program has led to full-time employment in the non-traditional occupation of maintainer for one Hispanic at our sister agency, New York City Transit, so far. In preparation for the pending retirements and as well as the normal attrition rates that we experience, we're working to attract the millennial generation. Through our summer intern program, we provided opportunities to work in several departments such as operations, engineering, construction, labor relations, procurement, controller, human resources, planning and budget, and internal security. We successfully attracted a total of 51 college students, of which 41% were females and 59% were minorities. Moving on to organizational and leadership development, we have partnered with Gotham Culture to help transform the culture and leadership of the organization and to improve performance. The effort is organized around 6 focus areas to help us achieve world-class performance, organizational alignment, and sustainable programs. These focus areas are safety, delivery of service, state of good repair, enterprise asset management, matrix management, and strategic initiatives. Through Gotham Culture, the workforce and leaders of our agency have begun a process of identifying the underlying causes of organizational obstacles, transforming mission-critical practices and procedures, implementing diverse talent initiatives, and executing breakthrough strategies to elevate safety, security, and performance. As part of this effort, our workforce is receiving leadership training, team alignment, and executive coaching services tailored to keep the organization moving forward. All B&T managers and high-level representative employees are participating in a 3-day course designed to foster leadership skills while aligning the work that employees do every day to the organizational focus areas. In the area of mobility and retention, MTA B&T is launching its second Bridges and Tunnels Management Associates program. The program will house participants within the Engineering and Construction Department and Strategic Initiatives Group, but through divisional rotation, participants will be able to immerse themselves in projects throughout the agency with the matrix management structure. And also, as part of our retention program, we hold an annual award ceremony, the last one, May 29th, 2015, in the Robert Moses Building, honored 106 employees for superior achievement in a variety of critical areas. And in the area of professional development, we provide seminars for the workforce that address such topics as customer service training, managing the multi-generational workforce, professionalism in the office, structured interview training, and investigative and business writing. We also provide health and wellness training as part of professional development through quality of life seminars such as Overcoming Burnout, Stress Reduction Tool Bag, Sleep 101, Managing Money in Hard Times, Creating a Positive Work Environment, and Maximizing Your Workday. And finally, I'd just like to take this opportunity to share our efforts to improve underutilization with respect to minority and women-owned business enterprise contractors. We held our first minority and women-owned business enterprise outreach effort in collaboration with MTA headquarters, the EDCR, on June 16th of this year at 2 Broadway. It successfully attracted over 150 participants for this event. The program focused on our as-needed targeted contract opportunities. They offered a variety of potential benefits for these subcontractors. Contractors generally required to respond quickly, of course, as you know, and must be ready, willing, and able to have the capacity to perform the required work. The contracts have shorter life cycles ranging from $100,000 to $10 million. Specifically, we highlighted 2 as-needed major maintenance contracts which span a 36-month time period and include the trades needed to support the projects that we believe that can attract MWBEs. We extended this invitation in an effort to work in collaboration with general contractors and to help provide a networking opportunity for the MWBE community and prime contractors. And that concludes my report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. Thanks.
Okay, MTA Capital Construction is committed to meet or exceed utilization goals in the staffing of our organization for all protected groups. To accomplish this, we continue to partner with MTA Department of Diversity and Civil Rights. During the second quarter of 2015, previously reported underutilized of Hispanics in the professional and administrative support job categories was eliminated, and now we exceed goals in these categories. To the use of utilization reports provided by the Department of Diversity and Civil Rights, we compare talent availability to workforce representation and structure our recruitment efforts accordingly. As of June 30th, 2015, MTA Capital Construction workforce reflected a female representation of 33% and a minority representation of 54% of a total headcount of 137 people. There's an increase of 2% for females and a 4% for minorities, which is an improvement over 2014, where we had 31 female and 50% minorities. MTA's met or exceeded utilization targets for female in all job categories, blacks in all job categories, Asian in all job categories, and actually NHOPI in all job categories. We exceeded targets for Hispanics in administrative support and professional job categories Both of these categories were previously reported as underutilized. Although the second quarter's utilization of Hispanic, 5%, is still below the estimated availability of 7% for the official and administrative category, this is a 1% improvement from 2014. We continue to work to meet utilization target for Hispanic in this category. As of June 30th, 2015, 38% of MTACC hires were female and 57% were minorities. MTA Capital Construction uses strategies which include targeted recruitment and internship programs to address underutilization. Our outreach efforts include the following: corporate membership in Hispanic organizations such as the Hispanic Latino Professional Association, and attendance at Latino targeted job fairs such as HLPA, Latino Career, and LAT Pro. In 2015, MTACC has participated in the following events: the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers and National Society of Black Engineers, Mock Interview Day, and the at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, the Brooklyn College Spring Internship Job Fair, the LAT Pro Diversity Job Fair. On September 28, 2015, we'll be attending the HLPA Career Expo at the New York Hotel. During the late 2014s, MTA Capital Construction instituted a paid internship program to make internship opportunities more accessible to diverse students from all economic backgrounds. This was accomplished through targeted recruitment to college-level Latino and other minority groups. During the second quarter of 2015, this program was expanded to include 7 summer internships, of which 4 were minority, and of those 2 were Hispanic. MTACC will continue to utilize social media, such as professional networking site LinkedIn, to provide information and updates on MTACC employment opportunities, and will continue to focus on attracting Latino, Black women, and Asian candidates to social media and job advertisements on focused websites such as Saludos, Professional Women in Engineering, National Society of Hispanic Professional, and the National Society of Black Engineers. Although our hiring needs are limited, we intend to continue the positive trend into 2016 to continue targeted recruitment and outreach effort. Thank you.
I have a question of Mike Garner. And this is an issue that I've been concerned about and Freddie's been concerned about over several years. And I know you've worked really hard to fix it. But when I look at the availability across the different agencies, it doesn't make sense to me anymore. Because I can understand differences in the different draw areas for Hispanics. But, you know, we women kind of live all over. And I would think that the draw area and the percentage of availability for women would be more consistent. So all I'm asking, because I know you've worked on it very hard, but I'd like you to take one other look at it and don't ask yourself what your formula is. Look at the numbers and say, does it make sense to me that Metro North has more women in their draw area than other areas? Because it doesn't make sense to me. And if you look at some of the other categories, it also doesn't make sense. It seems to me there should be more consistency among some agencies, not all, but take another gander, please.
Michael, you want to begin proceeding with the regular program?
Yes.
And let's try to like accelerate it a little bit. I think we've kept everybody somewhat long here already. We can.
Okay. Events. The DBE certification activity?
Just wanted to point out that, very quickly, that, as you know, our long-serving Assistant Director, Carolyn Green, has retired. I'm happy to report that Ron McCune has been promoted to the Assistant Director for Certification. He has been a manager in our office, and he has decades of experience in this area. So I will turn over to Ron McCune to give the presentation.
Okay, in regards to the firms that we have applications received during the second quarter, received 4 in the month of April, 9 and 9 in the month of May, and 11 in June, giving us 24 compared to 24 that we received in 2014. The second quarter, new applicants received and certified. We have 16, denied 2, returned 3, withdrawn 2, a total of 23 compared to the 23 that was done in 2014. And we have a pool of about 650 firms that have been certified by the MTA, and we're leading in the New York State Unified Certification Program in certified firms.
Yes, yes.
Next, we're going to talk about the summary of findings with respect to I'm sorry, we're going to fast forward.
Page 21.
Yeah, page, yeah. Summary of findings.
Excuse me. As stated on page 21, this lists the underutilization of protected groups, including women, across the MTA agencies. And taking a look at it as whole, majority underrepresentation occurs in Hispanics, women, and Native Hawaiian and the Pacific Islanders, although there are some underrepresentation for some of the other protected groups as well across various job categories across the agencies. Those are listed from page 22 through page 28. And as far as the new hires are concerned, for the 6-month period, over 3,000 employees were hired. 21% of the new hires are women, and 72% are minorities. That also includes women included in each of the minority groups. So Transit Authority hired most employees. Of 2,000 employees hired there, 20% are women, 81% are minorities, as was stated before. Just wanted to point out that the numbers of hired for MTA headquarters, which you will see, there's a breakdown of new hires for MTA headquarters. The numbers included also reflect the consolidation of information technology. That is, we consolidated position across agencies and moved employees from other agencies to MTA headquarters. And those are shown as new hires in this report. Page 31 lists the complaints for the 6-month period. Of a total of 382 complaints, 199 were with external agencies at the city, state, and federal levels, and 183 were internal complaints. For the external complaints, disability, other types of miscellaneous discrimination, and race-colored discrimination were most frequently cited. For the internal complaints, sexual harassment, other types of miscellaneous discrimination, and race-colored discrimination were most frequently cited. In addition to the EEO complaints, we also report on Title VI complaints, and there were 92 as a whole for across the MTA agencies, and race discrimination was most frequently cited on those complaints. Those are complaints filed by the customers generally. For pages that follow list the disposition, the status of the complaints as to how many are open, how many are closed, and they also list the disposition of those complaints and what the outcome was. Starting on page 36, we have a breakdown of the MTA headquarters workforce. indicating underutilization of minorities and other protected groups in various categories, as well as a breakdown of the complaints that were handled at MTA headquarters, as well as complaint filed by employees of MTA headquarters at the outside agencies, and the disposition of those complaints. On page 38, there's a breakdown of the MTA police force workforce utilization. Chief Cohen was here last time to present on the outreach efforts for the MTA police. And in December, we will we will be taking a look at the availability and the workforce. And as Commissioner Metzger mentioned, we would also be looking at the availability of women across the MTA agencies. And we will also take another look at the MTA workforce at headquarters and take into account the consolidation that has taken place of information technology and in Treasury. And we will also break the workforce among MTA Business Service Center and MTA headquarters. And we will come back in December to present a clearer picture of underutilization, as well as the efforts that we will take at BSC and at the MTA headquarters to address that underutilization.
Make a long story short, we will be coming back in December to review the numbers at MTHQ because, as Naeem indicated, the various consolidations of staff that's being included in MTHQ. George is going to give the presentation with respect to the Small Business Venturing Program, briefly.
Briefly. Good afternoon. Page 64, we have a mission. Our mission of the program is to develop and grow emerging contractors through classes, online, on-the-job training, technical assistance, and prime contract MTA agency, thereby creating a large pool of diverse, qualified contractors who can compete for and complete MTA construction projects safely, timely, and within budget. Slide 65, page 65, that slide shows our outreach efforts, and we focus on all the counties that the MTA services. Page 66 showed the total number of pre-qualified firms. We currently have 207 firms in the program, and we're growing. As the next slide indicates, it shows the 42 firms that are currently in the process of applying to the program. Page 68 shows the total contracts awarded. Over the 5-year, we have awarded 213 award contracts, totaling $191 million. We have our loan program. Throughout the same period, we had 61 loans, totaling $8 million. And then our surety bond program. And that program is continuing to grow. Currently, we had 68 firms that graduated from Tier 1, and they go into Tier 2. And at Tier 2, you have to have bonding. So of those 68 firms that graduated, 46 of those firms graduated with a bond surety letter. And our bonding program, we assisted 14 of those firms in obtaining surety bond. And of those 14 firms, the total dollar amount is $78 million in aggregate surety bond capacity. And most recently, Lachey Construction was awarded a $2.6 million contract, and they secure a surety bond of $3 million.
That was the first bond that was issued in the program. So it was great because we've tackled and solved the national problem of access to surety bonding and access to capital here at the MTA.
Right. The next 3 slides are very important. Firms receiving contract based on ethnicity and gender. And this is very troublesome for us. We're looking to focus our marketing efforts targeting a broader pool of emerging firms, including Black, Hispanic, and Asian Pacific firms. And with that said, we have an action plan that we're putting together. We're going to target ethnic trade groups and their association, including Blacks, Hispanic, and Asian Pacific. We're going to advertise the program in ethnic groups, a newspaper, journal, periodicals, and other media outlet. And we're also going to be reviewing our internal pre-qualification process and our financial assessment process.
Let me say that after the state's MWB conference, which we are a major player there, our first stop with attracting a more diverse pool of contractors is going to be BOEDC in the South Bronx, and then we will start going from each borough to attract a more diverse candidate and contractor for this program.
Go to page 74, some of the other performance results. Throughout the 5 years, the projects that we have awarded contribute to 4,500 jobs in the 14 counties, that region that we serve. Also, through the first 5 years, we provided 213 bid solicitation and a little over 1,000 bidding opportunities. We also have our extensive classroom training, and in total, 226 firms have participated in the training program as of spring 2015, and now we're just starting our fall training session. Looking ahead, subject to approval of the capital plan, we anticipate over the next 5 years that we'll have roughly $501 million in capital spending for the program, and that equates to about 430 projects. And we anticipate with that number will create about 12,000 jobs. The last page, 76, what's the next step? And we got a few things on the burner. Our union transition program, we're working through that, some hiccups, but we're moving forward with the program. Our back office support, that's another area that we're going to be tackling here in the fall, along with our business plan development. And then also, a new RFP is going to be going out. We're working on the RFP as we speak, and we're looking to get that out by the end of the year.
Thanks, George. Let me just say that the program, thanks to this board, the chairman, and the operating agency presidents and their respective staff, this program has really taken off. Not only in ensuring access to capital and surety bonding, but given the emerging MWDB firms the ability to bid to us directly as prime contractors so they can be in control of their own destiny. And so as George indicated, the next 5-year capital plan is going to be $500 million in contract opportunities in this program, in which we focus on job creation, because for every $1 million that's spent in capital construction in this region, a total of 26 jobs are maintained or created. And so not only increasing contract opportunities, but creating jobs in those areas in which those firms had not gotten opportunities. Next, Gwen is going to talk about the MWDB contract compliance.
MTA has exceeded its 17% DBE goal. This is page 79. With respect to contract awards, which are at 21%, and payments at 18%. Page 83, during the first quarter of New York State fiscal year, which is April through June 2015, MTA is slightly below the 30% goal. As you will note, the 30% annual goal was just increased in April of this year. So first quarter, we're at 28%, which is relatively great.
Let me just speak to the 3%. I think it's an outlier because of a lot of the procurements by transit, for example, the diesel fuel oil that was just awarded. And I'm having my staff go down line by line by line and make sure that this 3% is accurate. And so I will send you an update as to what those results yield as far as the awards. And as Gwen indicated, that our payments are hovering around the governor's 30%. We are currently at 28%. But with respect to the awards for this point period of time, we'll circle back around to you.
Mr. Chairman, Mike, the state controller issued a troubling finding with respect to our program. Among the things that he asserted was that we're not even meeting the governor's goals. And in fact, we're reducing our goals. Did we ever have a public answer to that?
No, I think we're going to speak to that at the audit committee meeting. But with respect to the state controller and his findings, yeah, right. We responded and disagree to what the state controller indicated, that our goal should have been 28%. We stated that our goal, based upon the availability in the areas in which we are buying our goods, services, and products, should have been 20%. And so they indicated that we were not doing an effective job of basically reviewing the areas in which there should have been a higher goal assigned. We basically said that our goal, based upon our findings, should have been 20%, which is consistent with what the governor had indicated during that time period of 20%.
Page 86, here we have the discretionary information of the over 68 million that were purchases that were 200,000 or less. Approximately 7 million or 10% were awarded to MWBEs, and over 4 million or 7% was awarded to SBCs.
Next is the legal services. We are currently, as far as fees paid, we are currently at 7%. We think that a better indicator here is to be more consistent with how we report our MWDB activity by not only highlighting the fees that's been paid or the contracts that's been paid, but also the awards. And so it is my understanding in reviewing the backup data that there have been a number of assignments by the MTA operating agencies, councils, in assigning contracts to state-certified law firms. So in ongoing, we are going to not only report the fees paid, but the actual awards as well.
And I would think why there would be a disparity between the two.
Yes, yes. Okay, underwriter fees. Basically, this is one bond transaction, and we are currently at 48% MWB inclusion and 1% of WB inclusion. And I'm extremely optimistic that as time goes on this year, that those numbers will in fact balance out to show the achievement of 15 and 15, which will be consistent with the governor's 30% MWB inclusion in this area. Asset fund managers, if you combine both of the two plans together, we are currently at, on page 95, 10% MWBE. This is an area in which I need to have conversations with Bob Ferran and also the new CIO to come up with strategies as to how we're going to expand opportunities. And those meetings will be scheduled in a very, very short period of time. Gwen is going to talk about MWDBE awards with respect to our capital construction projects.
MTA met or exceeded its MWDBE goals on capital construction projects. MTA achieved 20% of its 17% DBE goal and met the 30% MWBE goal, being 19% MBE and 11% WBE.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone. Do we have I think we've finished our business for the day, at least this part of it. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, everyone.
I'm not sure. I'll find out.
I don't know what kind of double secret and over you're using.